the importance of drama in life. What would be our life without drama? Well, thanks to William Shakespeare, we can enjoy an endless number of plays around the world. Shakespeare has been the inspirator of many artists that have based their work on his writings. Thanks to Shakespeare's work, nowadays we can have a few hours of detachment from the problem of our world, from the problems that are around us. Thanks to Shakespeare, our mind can fly, can think, can imagine, can dream. So what would be our life without drama? Well, I can say what for sure would be without drama. It would be a flat life, a colorless life. Drama gives the spices that harmonize ourselves, our human being, with the environment, with the people around us. Drama is important in our life. Sometimes our life live dramas, but dramas are part of ourselves. That's the importance of it, in my opinion. So this year I had the opportunity to attend two very important opera presentations. Last one was a few days ago, Romeo and Juliet at the Metropolitan Opera House. I had the opportunity, a wonderful opera, but I had the opportunity to attend also a few years ago another version with other singers. It was a few years ago Vittorio Griculo and Diana Damrau, the one that I watched a few days ago, Nadine Sierra and Bahrain, a French singer. The cast, in my opinion, I enjoyed more the cast of a few years ago, despite the fact that Nadine Sierra has been extraordinary. On the opposite, I expected a little bit more from the French tenor. It was a French tenor specialized in French opera, but unfortunately I had the impression, I don't know if it was a bad day, sometimes singers suffer a bad day, but he had some problems with his acute. The cast was more even, let's say, was performing better in the one that I had the opportunity to see a few years ago. And then a few weeks ago, I had the opportunity also to attend La Forza del Destino of Giuseppe Verdi. Giuseppe Verdi was a composer of my region. Actually, he was from Parma, and I studied in Parma. So I had the opportunity to attend the Giuseppe Verdi presentation, La Forza del Destino. And La Forza del Destino, in my opinion, is probably one of the best opera, even though I'm dueling between Verdi and Wagner. Since many years ago, I started to study the work of Richard Wagner, so right now I'm dueling, I have a dual love from Wagner and for Verdi. So that's the beauty of art, no? It's very difficult to arrive to some definitive conclusion. But so I thought, to make a little presentation on the importance of drama, and for several reasons. The first one, we work and our life usually is very demanding. But the ability to attend some hobbies, for example, to visit a museum, to make some sport, or to attend a beautiful event in a theater, in an opera theater, is a very important moment because it makes us to reflect about what we are and about the future. That's the importance of drama. At the same time, I have also some economical analysis about opera, because I've been also an opera producer. And as an opera producer, opera nowadays is only maybe it is considered wrongly that it is only for the elite. Actually, when opera, one century ago, or a few centuries ago, opera was a form of entertainment for the people, for everyday people, for common people. And then new forms of entertainment replaced what was opera, and now opera represents more a niche market. In order to produce an opera, you need to find sponsors. Without sponsors, it's impossible to put on place an opera production. So here, and because of my travel, I have the opportunity to attend opera in the United States, at the Metropolitan, especially but not only at the Metropolitan Opera House. I go also to the Washington Opera and others theater, but especially at the Metropolitan Opera House. I consider actually the Metropolitan Opera House the most important opera house all around the world. In America, you have two more. In the American continent, you have the Teatro Colón in Buenos Aires, that is a wonderful venue. Unfortunately, for limited economic resource, it cannot compete with the Metropolitan Opera House. But what the Metropolitan Opera House is not only unique for the quality of its production, is unique also for how they are able to finance the business, because you need a lot of sponsors, and there are a lot of sponsors, private sponsors, that are helping that opera house to produce and to maintain the highest levels all around the world. I remember, just to make a comparison, in Europe I have a mixed feeling. Sometimes you attend a very nice production, other times, unfortunately, too many other times, you go out of the theater disappointed. So I will let a couple of stories just to compare the work of the Metropolitan Opera House with the work of European theaters. It was 2021. I was in Berlin for work, and then because I was in Europe, I returned. It was April. I returned to Berlin just to attend the Wagner Lohengrin. We returned to Berlin because it was supposed to be singing Alagna, Roberto Alagna. So we are fans of Alagna, so we were happy to have the opportunity to watch Alagna singing. Unfortunately, the day we arrived, Alagna wasn't singing. It was sick, so he didn't sing that day. But the production was horrendous. Lohengrin is a unique opera, is a wonderful opera, and it is one of the easiest Wagner opera to watch. And they were able to, the production was one of the worst productions that I've seen in my life. That's my, it was completely, the scene movement, it was completely disorganized. Singers, in my opinion, didn't have the level of what Wagner demanded. So at the end of the day, we decided not to watch it completely, and we went to dinner, to dine. We watched the first act, and then we went. It was very disappointing. And in Berlin, I had the opportunity to, most of the opera that I've been seeing in Berlin have been disappointing, completely disappointing. But why? Why you have in the Metropolitan Opera House a pearl, and what you are able to spoil the same opera in Europe? That's the question. Then I have another experience, unfortunately, in Parma with La Forza del Destino. For me, La Forza del Destino is probably one of my favorite operas. But also in the voices that had been selected for the role were, in my opinion, totally unfit for the role. So the scenography, etc. So I decided do not return there again, because I mean, in order to attend an opera presentation, you have to invest some. I mean, to sit well, you invest some important amount of money. So you have the right to, hopefully, to see a good presentation. So, what is the difference between one way of mounting a business and the other one? Well, I think when you have the state that inject money, and when the opera houses, they are not worried to find their financing, finally they end up not so concerned about quality. In particular, in Berlin, I remember also a couple of one Carmen. It was completely dystonic, and I had another one Trovatore. The Trovatore probably has been, together with the Lohengrin that I left the presentation, the worst opera presentation that I've seen in my life. And in the Trovatore that I've seen, but in another opera house of Berlin, they have 3 in Berlin, so I've been to the different presentation in the 3 of them. But in the Trovatore they use, in the one that disgusted me, they use the symbology in a complete wrong way. The director utilized a Latin American symbology without understanding what he was doing. So it was very unbelievable to spend or to invest such amount of money to have a production and completely wrongly organized. Because the symbology, you can have a modern production, because you can have a minimalistic stage, you can have an original stage, or you can have a modern stage. For example, the last Forza del Destino that I've seen in the Met, you had a modern stage, extremely well done, but it was a modern one. It was not the original idea developed by Verdi. So you can have, even if for the opera purist they prefer, let's say, the original idea, sometimes you have a modern idea that is extremely well done. But in that case, in that Trovatore, it was a disaster. So, but what is the point? Why they are able to produce such a beauty in the Metropolitan Opera House, and why sometimes around Europe you don't have the same level? Cost of production are similar, but there is one explanation, and it's very important to understand. Now we talk about economy. The Metropolitan Opera House should maintain its standard because it receives a lot of contribution, private contribution. So if you are an opera lover with a big wallet and you want to make a big donation, you will make the donation if the productions that are made are up to the level that they should be. On the other side, in Europe, you have a form of social assistance for the artist. They are not really concerned about quality. The government, through taxation, provide money for the artist. About the quality, sometimes they are chosen, the artists that work in the different stage, sometimes they are chosen for their political ideology, and sometimes political ideology prevails over the quality of their work. And that's the simple explanation. So if you go to an opera house in Europe, maybe you are able to see a wonderful production, but you have the risk to see a poor production. Why? Because they receive money from the government. So the quality is less important in comparison of the importance that it has, for example, in the United States, in the Metropolitan House. That's the simple explanation. So sometimes you are lucky, other times you are not so lucky. And for somebody like me that loves opera, when I'm not lucky, I consider myself particularly disappointed because I would like to see a nice production always, no? Of course. So I hope I have one last thing, but it is important. About 10 years ago, at the Scala Opera House, I had the opportunity to assist a wonderful production. It was a British production. It was Le Troyen of Berlioz. The director, it was Papano. And usually when you assist to an opera, at the end of the presentation, there is the greetings to the artist, and the last one is the music director, in that case was Papano, and the orchestra. And I was really impressed because it was the first time that the orchestra left. They didn't wait for the appraisal for the public, for the applause of the public. I was surprised. So why they left? Well, you know, you have a very syndicalized, the union probably the union of the orchestra decided that day they had worked enough, so it was time to leave. But it is not good. There is a protocol that should be followed. Once the opera is finished, people like to greet the artist. And if you left, if you don't wait the greetings, the applause of the public is a form of disrespect. And it was what it happened during Le Troyen. The opera was beautiful. I believe most of the production that I've seen at the Scala has been nice production, even though some of them were of the Metropolitan Opera House. I had seen already in the Metropolitan Opera House, or in that case, it was a London production. But that's the story of opera. I hope I interested you, and I'm looking forward in my next presentation. Thank you.